I think it's an issue that really got on the radar in the 2016 presidential campaign with the well-documented efforts to hack servers by the Russians, the DNC hacking, and other examples of political campaigns being intruded and invaded by hackers and other actors. And so it is certainly an issue. You know, when I was in government, we spent a lot of time and energy on just trying to protect government files. You know, we had what we believed to be the Chinese hacking of our personnel files, taking millions of individuals, government employees' personnel files. That was a big issue then. And there were a number of incidents where foreign actors had infiltrated the government. There are other examples where you have, certainly businesses would come to government with concerns about intellectual property being stolen by foreign entities, stealing their information and using it for gain in other countries. And then back on the campaign issue, I think it would be very difficult right now to be running a national campaign. And I haven't reviewed the news you were just referring to there yet, but I think it'd be very difficult to be running a national political campaign, given what happened in the 2016 presidential election, and protecting your private conversations. You know, campaigns are about a lot of candid private conversations and information, and that information has great value to your opponents. And this concept that it can be stolen through, a simple phishing email that someone responds to and exposes, an entire campaign server, entire campaign database, voter lists, correspondence, plans, all those things, it changes the entire landscape. And the sense is, if the information's public, it's fair game. I know there was some effort last cycle by the two parties to say, hey, if anybody gets hacked, we're going to say that that information can't get used. But it's pretty difficult once a foreign actor releases information with how, fierce campaigns are these days for the other campaign not to seize on it and to say whatever it was. Donna Brazile got test questions to whoever beforehand. Whatever those little things are, it's in our vernacular, it's in our political understanding now, and it can't be undone. And so I would be very nervous if I was running a national campaign. I think it's probably less of an issue on the local campaigns, just because we haven't really seen a lot of examples that I'm aware of, hackers infiltrating a congressional campaign or a state campaign. Although I think that's probably something that should be on their radar. And then just generally, I think when you think about the value of public confidence in cybersecurity, one topic that has come up for years is the idea that we could have online voting. I don't know how you can ever assume that we would be comfortable having online voting when we don't know that we can protect databases and information to be secure. So it's very impactful, and there aren't always really simple answers or easy fixes. I think it's an evolving question, and one that I don't know that campaigns have the answer to yet. We've seen this play out at the presidential level with, the advantage sort of given to President Trump, whether he always, uses the advantage, to his best advantage, but the advantage being given to President Trump that he's got a podium, and that Joe Biden's sort of been, in his basement. Campaigns we're used to in this country, touching and feeling candidates, having them come to rallies, having them walk in parades, having them be accessible. The chance that you could meet someone who is going to represent you is a key part of our election process. Now, it always hasn't always been that way. There are some scholars on here who would remember which candidates, but there have been people elected to president that never left, their front porch, right? I can't remember which candidate that was, but there's others who've done, the train whistle stop. So this is an evolving thing. And, but I think, at the presidential level, I think those guys have to be able to get out and do rallies. And obviously that's a key part of President Trump's planning, is to be able to get large groups together. But even at the local level, are you going to be able to, are there parades going to even happen, right? Door-to-door campaigning, do people want strangers ringing their doorbell and handing them literature? Somebody rang my doorbell there to hand us literature, and I kind of wonder, I was surprised at that actually for one of the local campaigns. And I don't wonder how prevalent that'll be. I think the desire to win and the desire to work hard to win is probably going to push people out to do those things. And you can see the COVID, obviously, social constraints are changing as we speak. I think we're also sort of mesmerized by the premise that we couldn't, do these sorts of activities yet. Now we have obviously large groups of people protesting and having large rallies and, big events. And so does that sort of reopen the concept that you can start having big political events on either side? of this equation. I do think it does provide maybe a little bit of an advantage for an incumbent or a more wealthy candidate who could self-fund, particularly if you were, say, let's say you're a self-funder who doesn't like retail politics. You don't really want to go do parades. You don't want to, get your hands dirty. You don't want to go out and shake hands or knock on doors or, do those, more arduous tasks that some candidates don't like to do. You really had a hard time avoiding those in the past because you would probably be criticized or mocked for not even showing up to a debate or to a rally or something where you're present, setting up a table somewhere. But if those things aren't happening, I mean, the Kansas primaries are, 2 months away. You could certainly see that a candidate could win, a seat for U.S. Senate or Congress and potentially never do one political event. If you had, and so that probably puts more pressure on spending money on mail, social media, television. It'd be interesting. This is the first time I haven't been in a campaign myself since the 2000 election, first even year since the year 2000. So, I'm not really heavily involved in a campaign right now. And it'd be interesting on the planning stage to think, how do we reallocate our resources? Where do we put them? Because people are at home, right? So maybe mail becomes a bigger factor again, because I'm actually checking my mailbox every day because I'm home every day, right? Social media, we're on our computers all day even more. But would radio be something you'd want to do? I mean, radio is more of a car related activity. Are we driving as much? So I could see just those little nuances of, because of COVID, we need to do this to reach voters, and how that might impact those campaigns. It's really fascinating to see. I'm actually very interested to see how this all plays out.